Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about why it's important to keep creating even when the world feels like it's on fire and you're almost embarrassed to be an artist, especially an artist telling people to go buy their stuff. So I'm going to dispel some myths and hopefully encourage some creativity in some of you guys. Hey there, welcome to the channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. I'm glad you came back. I'm John Hartness. I'm the founder and publisher of Falstaff Books, an independent press based here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm also the author of over 40 novel-length works, including The Black Knight Chronicles, Bubba the Monster Hunter, and Quincy Harker Demon Hunter. I'm also a freelance editor and the creator of the Saga Genre Fiction Writing Conference, and I hope that you will all join us there and learn to write better books and make more money. There you go. There's my pitch. I want to talk about apologizing for doing your job. I see a lot of writers today start their social media posts, their book promotion posts with, "I feel bad trying to sell a book when the world is on fire." Or "I feel bad talking about my work when there are more important things going on in the world." And I get that. I do. Me talking about my books or my conference or promoting my YouTube channel pale in comparison to the importance of the fact that the bakery 2 blocks from my house was shut down for a week because ICE showed up in my city and wanted to arrest the employees of Manolo's Bakery and the customers. So they closed the bakery for a week and there were protests on the street corner. My Bubba the Monster Hunter novel doesn't seem very important when that's going on, right? Sitting here talking about not using "so" too many times in the dialogue of your book feels really, really petty when federal agents are murdering people on the streets of Minneapolis. But it's not. First off, you can be outraged at the things that are going on in our nation and still want people to buy and read your stories. You are a grown-up. You can hold conflicting thoughts and emotions at one time. You don't have to only be angry and you don't have to only be promoting. You're allowed to do both. But what we as writers do is important. What we do is a chronicle of our time. When people look back on the early parts of the 21st century, it will be a tidal wave of change in how stories were told. You'll see an immediate cutoff of apocalyptic literature in early 2020 because we were living in it. Nobody wants to read The Stand when they think they might be living in The Stand. Then you'll see an uptick in that same type of literature once the pandemic became endemic. I'm not going to say once it passed because that disease is with us forever. It's now going to be just part of our ecosystem, and that sucks, and I'm sorry. But what we do is part of documenting our world. It's part of documenting our times. It's holding that mirror up to nature that Shakespeare told us to hold. And it's changing minds and hearts and opinions one human being at a time. Creating social change through your books can absolutely be one of your goals. Doesn't have to be. But you may never know the change you wrought. Personal example. Story time with Uncle Johnny. In 1999, I had been out of acting and designing for theater for several years. And I went to a touring production of Rent with my wife. Didn't know anything about the show other than I had heard it was good, and I guess I got the tickets for cheap. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, and and they break into one song, Glory. And it's an actor sitting on the end of a table playing a guitar with this really strong backlight, and it's this incredible image. And then it's an incredible song, and it's very moving to me, and it is churning up all these emotions. And I think to myself, that's why I used to do theater. That's what I want to get back to. And we left the theater after giving a well-deserved standing ovation to the touring company, and I started talking to my wife about founding a theater company. And we did. And with others, we co-founded a small theater company here in Charlotte that ran for 6 years. And we did some really good work. And there were several things that we did that I feel were important for the time. Charlotte is a fairly conservative city. It is left-leaning, but the power structure is bankers. And the money comes from banks. And if you don't think banks are conservative, try to get a loan lately. So there had been a big brouhaha a couple of years before about a production of Angels in America. If you don't know, that show's really gay. Really gay. Also one of the most brilliant pieces of theater I've ever seen. So there was a big deal, a big controversy about a local production of that show that resulted in all of the arts funding from the county being stripped from the local arts organization. And that had a chilling effect on theatrical productions in this city for years. Short answer, nobody was doing gay plays. There weren't really locally produced theaters producing LGBTQ plus content at the time. So when we opened up our theater, the guy I picked to be our artistic director, because he was one of the, by far, the most qualified theater professionals I knew, also gay. And he said, well, what about this? I was like, okay, that's a good play. And I said, what about this? And he said, yeah, that's a great play. Do you think we're going to get protested? I said, nah, nobody's even going to notice we're doing it. The show was Corpus Christi by Terrence McNally, and I believe there's still a fatwa on McNally's head for writing the play. I don't know if those things go away or not. I've never been important enough to have anyone threaten to kill me. This is not an invitation. So we produced Corpus Christi. We produced Jeffrey. We produced Bent. We produced a whole lot of very gay theater. And we sold a fair number of tickets, especially for an 80-seat black box. And then we looked around and noticed that other companies were doing openly gay shows again. We didn't think about that when we started the company. We didn't think about launching careers when we started the company, but we did. There are actors who have gone on to do much bigger and better things that got their very first roles with us in our shows, or they got their first challenging roles with us. They had done some stuff, but it was light, airy, nothing they had to really work at. We didn't think we were launching careers. We just wanted to do good plays. And we did. We produced some great shows. Jonathan Larson didn't think that he was going to launch a theater company in North Carolina when he created Rent. But he did. Anne Frank didn't think that she was creating one of the most important historical documents of the 1930s and 40s. But she did. What we do is important because what we do has ripples. And we don't know where those ripples go. We don't know what effect it'll have. We don't know if that ripple becomes a tidal wave that capsizes somebody's boat of ignorance and sends all of their little passengers of stupid to the bottom of a lake somewhere. But maybe it does. What we do is important. Everybody's first D&D character is usually a fighter because they don't know anything and fighters are easy to play. And, the warriors are the heroes, right? Luke Skywalker's a warrior. Luke Skywalker's also a whiny man baby. But Han Solo, the anti-hero, the guy who shot first. Captain Kirk is a hero. William Shatner, not so much. But Captain Kirk is a hero. But Gene Roddenberry was the bard. That's important. The bards are important. If you've read Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames, and if you haven't, you should. It's one of my favorite books, and my book, Unforgiven, was very much inspired by Kings of the Wild. They're always looking for a bard because somebody's got to tell the story. We are the ones to tell the story. I'm old. The idea of me getting into a physical altercation with federal agents, it's pretty unlikely because I don't have the tools physically anymore, if I ever did, and really I didn't. But I can ridicule. I can disembowel people with my words. I have the ability to chip away at the mortar holding up the walls of a regime. Parody is one of the most important tools a resistance has. And parody frequently works best when people don't necessarily realize it's parody. What we do matters. Maybe it doesn't matter to everybody. Maybe it doesn't matter to many people. But if it matters to one, you've done your job. People talk about pebbles become avalanches. They do. We as writers, don't just have we don't just, it's funny when a writer stumbles on words, right? This is how you tell that the script for my videos is barely half a sheet of paper. And I don't know where I put the reading glasses in my studio, so I can't even read what I wrote. Eep. We have a duty to write. And then we have a duty to get those words out there. If I can make some hillbilly who relates to Bubba the Monster Hunter to be a little less homophobic because Bubba's best friend is a gay black dude, then I've started a pebble rolling down a hill. If I can change one mind, then I've done a lot of good. And you can do the same thing. Promote your work. Talk about your books. Talk about the stuff you're working on. And don't let somebody tell you that what we do doesn't matter, that us talking about our books is silly or irrelevant. We are the scribes. We're the ones writing the history. You, as a writer, are one of the most important people in any movement. So don't feel bad about trying to sell your book when the world is on fire. The world being on fire means that they need your work more. It means that what you do is more important than it's ever been. So go write it. Go do the work. Whether you're on my side of the aisle or not, go do the work. Be the change you want to see. Start the pebble rolling down the hill. Get her done. All right. So there's my words of encouragement in the middle of a dumpster fire that is 2026. Can we go back to precedented times, pretty please? If you enjoyed this video and if you stuck around this long, you might as well hit the like and subscribe buttons. And if you want to see your name in the videos, like all of these people, or maybe they're over here, I don't know, I don't do the edits, then you can join the channel and you can support us that way. There are links down in the description to buy books or tickets to Saga. And if you're coming to Saga, I'll look forward to meeting you there. And if I see you at a convention, I look forward to seeing you there. And if I don't, then I look forward to seeing you here next time. Thanks. Bye.